Hey everyone, welcome to the Commissioner's Clubhouse and the LCC Network. We are in the midst of a firestorm of LCC and NFL trades. We've got a great show like always, and with me today I've got Isaac. How are you doing, man?
What's up, man?
That's right. Isaac was involved in a number of these trades.
Hey, that is breaking news, my friend, because I never have anything to do with trades.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Then of course we got Jameson, and take it away, dude.
Hey, yeah, it's another exciting episode. A lot of content this
No,
week.
don't lie to him. It's a terrible episode. Stop
It's a
listening
bad
right now.
episode. I'm gonna let you know
Yeah.
it's 48 minutes right now, and if you want to just quit, we wouldn't blame you. Just log
Yeah,
out
no,
right now.
it's going to be a 2-hour and 5-minute show. So
No, don't tell them that.
sit
They
back
really
and
will.
relax. I'm just kidding.
God. So I got a couple things here. We're going to quick announcements. Divisional realignment. All of that's due tomorrow. I know the other conference has it going on. I don't think we're going to be doing anything, but get all that into us. Schedule release for the upcoming season's about a month away. We'll keep you updated on that. We've got a new owner in the LCC in the Elite 12, Billy Powell. So Billy, I hope you're listening. Welcome to the LCC, and it's good to see you're already active. So get ready to get beat down in the 2019 season. So.
Yeah, because you guys in the same division too, so it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, he's got a lot to learn about my division, about the LCC. So.
Ooh, he says he's going to school you, pal. How you feel?
That's right, BP. I don't even know you. I've never even talked to you. All right, and then so today we got recent and still possible if we have time LCC trades. Like Patrick mentioned, it's been a firestorm the last couple of days. So we want to kind of review that, what it means for rosters. And then after that, we're going to talk a little bit about who's worth keeping. Everyone's in that stage now where they're kind of trying to figure out who they want to keep at what value. So we're going to talk about
Jameson,
some of the best. Yes.
You're worth keeping.
Oh, thank you, Isaac.
Oh, you're welcome.
I appreciate that. I was kind of upset that you interrupted me, but now my heart's full of of joy.
I just want to make you feel special, man. It's your birthday, so happy birthday on the live recording.
Earlier birthday week, yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yep. So best value, moderate value, and then the players who have no value that we don't think are worth keeping. So we'll jump straight into this, guys. Are you ready?
That's what she said.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go.
My team can't trade me. I said my team can't trade me.
A lot of trades here. We'll kind of run through and then we'll talk about in the end. Adam Thielen and a 4th-round pick for Devontae Adams. That was yours truly. Michael Thomas and Quan Alexander for Mike Evans and C.J. Mosley. Also yours truly. Julio Jones and I was busy this week.
Mine.
I did not put them in this order. Someone else
No, I put them in the order as they happened. So you did all those trades back to back.
So I kicked it off. That's good.
Yeah.
Julio Jones and Jordan Poyer for Alvin Kamara and Keenan Allen. That's a big one. Todd Gurley.
That's what she said.
And God, all right. I wasn't even on the right. Oh, hold on.
That's what she said.
Todd Gurley and the injured knee for Derwin James and J.J. Watt. Russell Wilson for Cam Newton.
No.
I'm not going to read that. AJ, you guys should see what Isaac wrote on our show doc. AJ Green for Joey Bosa and an 8th-round pick. Aaron Rodgers for Deshaun Watson. 2 guys in the last year of their contract. Makes a lot of sense. Landon Collins and 2 5th-round picks for David Johnson and Stephon Diggs. Darius Leonard and Nick Chubb for Christian McCaffrey, probably the best PPR running back in the game. A 2nd-round pick for Aaron Rodgers. This must have happened in the other conference, I imagine.
No, this is ours. Peyton sold Aaron Rodgers to Billy. Billy went spastic and wanted Rodgers, so he tossed up a 2nd-round pick for him.
I'll tell you what, man. Billy he's trying to make a run. We'll talk about that here. I'm getting ahead of myself. Andrew.
There hasn't been any trades in the top shotters. Am I right about that? You guys would know more than me.
Yeah, they're still missing that one owner, so they haven't been able to trade or do anything. So these are all Elite 12 trades.
That's crazy. He traded and traded him away. Like they've got something. They've got some. He's got a plan, I guess.
Well, I mean, it's kind of smart. I mean, if he wasn't that high on Aaron Rodgers and you offered a 7th-round pick for him, it's like, hell yeah, give it to me.
Yeah,
he's got the first pick in the 2nd round, so it's basically the end of the first.
Yeah, Yeah. Well, good on you, Peyton. Andrew Luck and a 6th-round pick for Pat Mahomes. David Johnson and Melvin Gordon. David Johnson 4, Melvin Gordon, and swap 2nd and 3rd-round picks. 2nd-round pick for Jesse Bates, and then a 7th and a 1st-round waiver wire pick for Baker Mayfield and a 2nd-round waiver wire pick. That obviously came after the news that OBJ was traded to the Browns, and Baker Mayfield's projections shot through the roof. So, guys, from this list here, is there anyone that you guys want to talk about their rosters, anything like that? We've got plenty of time for this section.
I'm actually gonna talk about myself. I mean, I'm real happy. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna talk about myself. I really like what Billy did. He's got.
Which one? A lot of Billy.
God, there's 2 of them. Billy Ray Cyrus. Talk about him.
Well, which
I like what he did.
Okay.
Billy Ray Cyrus.
Okay.
I like what he did. He's got a firecracker offense. Got Aaron Rodgers, Todd Gurley, Ezekiel Elliott, and he's got Devontae Adams.
God,
that is a all-star lineup.
Ooh,
he's got to get another receiver to complete it, and he still has Luke Kuechly and Khalil Mack on the defense, so he's not completely scrapped on defense.
Yeah.
So we'll see what he does. But I mean, man, that offense is loaded. I really feel he's got he could really go head up with Cody's offense, honestly.
Yeah. He's going to need a defense. Yeah. He's definitely going to need some defensive pieces, especially in that secondary. I know he's got Kevin Bayard, but I've never really saw Kevin Bayard as like an elite fantasy safety. He's always been solid, but I mean, Derwin James he had a lot of potential, and he traded him away.
I mean, but for Todd Gurley, so I don't blame him for that.
I mean, Todd Gurley, I have a little bit of concern with his knee, but I think he's still going to be a top 3 fantasy running back this season.
The part of that trade I don't get is JJ Watt. Like that doesn't why? Like that doesn't make sense to me. Like that didn't make the trade any better or worse for anyone. Like it was. I don't know. It just fills up a waiver wire spot for you, I guess. You don't have to pick someone.
To be honest, the original trade was Derwin James, Amari Cooper, Khalil Mack for Todd Gurley, and we were like, dude, no, that's just too much for you to give up for one player. So they had to rework it out, and that's just what they came up to. Where we felt like, sure, if you want to do that, go ahead.
Yeah, I was the one who was actually more okay with the first one than Cody and Isaac were. Given Todd Gurley.
Yeah, I was about to say I like the first one better. Like that makes more sense to me, but this one's kind of crazy.
But that's ultimately what was agreed on. Billy.
Well, it's good that you're not a commissioner, is it, there, Patrick?
Yeah, I would have voted the other way for sure.
Billy is going for that ring this year. He got so close last year, and he is going on the very first day trades opened up. He went in at it. Couple other trades I thought made a ton of sense for both people. Russell Wilson for Cam Newton. I mean, 2 guys. I think they're either one could do great, either one could do okay. They're both very athletically similar. I think fantasy similar. Russell Wilson is last year. I think Cam got a lot of value for Cam.
I was about to say Newton's got his floor is a lot higher than Wilson's is, but their ceiling is pretty similar.
I think their floors are very similar. I mean, Newton's finished 17th before, and I think Russell's worst is like 13 or 15, something like that.
I actually like Cam a little bit better this year because the Panthers are actually making an initiative for once to improve their offensive line.
Yeah.
So I am a little bit more excited about Cam Newton and the Panther offense than last year. Then Russell Wilson, I feel like, still has some pretty big holes on his offense.
How do you guys feel about the release of Matt Khalil, your star left tackle?
I was pretty okay with that. Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Signing Matt Paradis from the Broncos, that was a good signing. At $9 million a year, I think he's going to do good things for the O-line for us.
Yeah, I think so. I like him a lot. I mean, it's going to be nearly impossible to replace a guy like Ryan Khalil. I mean, probably the best or top 3 best centers in the past decade of the NFL.
Yeah, he's definitely up there.
You can't replace a guy like that perennially. So I'm not expecting him to be as good, but I'm expecting him to be still really good.
So
Another
excited about
guy,
speaking
it.
of the Panthers,
another guy was
oh,
damn.
what?
Not me. I was gonna
Go
say
ahead.
Jeff Saturday and Jeff Mangold were other two like really all-star centers, and once they left, like teams are still trying to find somebody to replace how much impact they had on the offensive line. So yeah, I mean
Oh, for
that
sure, yeah.
loss for Ryan Khalil for the Panthers is going to be pretty significant.
Well, that's why I'm so excited about Ryan. I think it's going to help us maintain that. We re-signed Darrell Williams, I think, too, Friday.
Yep, one year
Thursday.
deal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I like Darrell Williams. I think he's pretty solid.
yeah.
Um,
So we're working towards it. So, I mean, that definitely helps Cam's fantasy value heading into the season. Another Panther, CMC, said, Patrick, this is your trade. You
Yep.
went off, sold the best linebacker in fantasy and potential great running back in Nick Chubb for CMC. So I think you definitely got a fantasy stud there, and you're running someone you've been searching for a long time, the last few years, at least. And this came out right before Nick Chubb, before you found out about Kareem Hunt's suspension, 8-game suspension. So I think you did good to make that move.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the Nick Chubb part was kind of, I mean, the loss for my dad losing CMC versus the loss of Darius Leonard, it affected him way more than it was going to affect me. I've got depth at linebacker. His depth at running back was David Johnson, who he didn't feel very comfortable with from the start going into this year. So that's why I offered the Nick Chubb part of this deal because, I mean, I think me personally, and my dad thinks so too, he's going to be an RB1 weeks 1 through 8. Now, his numbers are obviously going to naturally drop off after week 8. But if one guy's carried you to the playoffs at that point, he's worth having on your roster. And I like him. I was planning on keeping him if I didn't trade him. I really believe in Nick Chubb. I think he's a premier back for the future of the NFL. But yeah, this was a big trade for me. My offense was one of the worst in the league last year, and like I said, I've proven I know IDP players pretty well, and I can put together a really good defense year after year. So I felt comfortable trading away my best guy to make a huge improvement on offense. My offense was garbage, man, the past 2 years. So I had to do something different.
Yeah, and your dad, with the trade with me and the trade with you, he's got the best defense. I mean, he's got Darius Leonard, Deion Jones, Landon Collins, and Quentin Dix. I mean, that is
he's got the best defense
power
in the league coming in to the offseason. And that's what he told me. That's why he wanted to make these trades is he's like me. He knows he can put together a good offense. He just struggles putting together a good defense. And by him just, plugging these guys in without having to draft them or even do any research on them, I think it's going to help him a lot because he can put together a decent enough offense where I think he could end up winning the division again between us, Isaac. I feel like with the roster he's got right now.
I mean, he's an OG. He's been doing that offensive fantasy for 2010. So he's got plenty of practice with the offense, and that's why I kind of saw what he was doing with these two trades with us. He's like, you can see he struggles a lot with defense, so he knows these guys and knows the impact, and that's why he's just like, yeah, you can have my offense because I can rebuild them real quick. It's cool.
Yeah, that's how it was with Darius Leonard. I was like, well, I got Blake Martinez and Jermaine Edmonds to plug in to fill in that hole. So I was okay. I was okay with it. It was hard because Darius Leonard was my best player overall last year. So I'm gonna miss him, but it'll be nice beating up on him two games this year.
Yeah, the Landon Collins one kind of worked out for me because I didn't not that high on David Johnson either, but I flipped him for Melvin Gordon, which I like. So
yeah.
I mean, I was pretty happy. I mean, I could have got stuck with David Johnson, which I would have been okay with, but I already have Phillip Lindsay on my team. So I would have had like two top tier 2 running backs, but now I got Melvin Gordon. I got tier 1, tier 2, so I'm pretty happy that worked out the way it did.
Yeah, speaking of that, so you mentioned Melvin Gordon, the Melvin Gordon David Johnson trade. I mean, if you look at Tyler's roster after all of these moves, he's slowly putting together something in the offseason that I think is going to be competitive. Andrew Luck at quarterback, David Johnson, Michael Thomas, Travis Kelce, Quan Alexander, Tyrann Mathieu, Rashad Jones, who was the number 1 DB 2 years ago, I mean, he's definitely, he's got some draft picks. He's definitely someone that's, I think, putting in an effort this offseason to get better.
And one thing I
Yeah.
put on our old outline before we decided to do some more recent stuff was if he could put the same effort in the offseason that in the regular season, he would be much, much better. He does good in the offseason and then just lets it just fall to hell during the season. And that's when you'll see he's great the first 5 weeks and then just not there.
Honestly, I'm looking at our offense and defensive rankings article right now in front of me. Tyler finished with the second best offense and the seventh best defense. He literally had one of the more balanced teams last year, but it is literally his engagement weeks 1 through 12 is what gets him every year he's been in the league. And he needs to change that because you can't just win championships in the offseason, just like you can't just win championships weeks 1 through 12. It's a combination of both because you're going to have guys get hurt. You're going to have guys get traded. You're going to have a guy get suspended. It just happens. And you have to be able to
Go ahead and throw that suspended in there because Kareem Hunt kind of caught me off guard with that one, little bastard.
Yeah.
But, luckily I had Lindsey.
And now potentially Tyreek Hill, another big one that looks like may happen.
Yeah, that doesn't make me excited
drafted,
about.
Man.
Yeah. But, Tyler, I looked at his. He averaged 10 points less per fantasy game over the second half of the season than he did the first half of the season. After injuries to Emmanuel Sanders and I believe Alshon Jeffrey too. So you're right. If he can make some moves in the season, he'll be competitive. Another guy that I wanted to talk about briefly because it was a huge news was Baker Mayfield's fantasy value. Bryson looks like he made a move for him. It looks like he believes in him. Jarvis Landry, OBJ, David Njoku, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt in the second half of the season. Where do you have Baker Mayfield in? Like, if you just had to, right now, we haven't projected, we haven't done any stats or anything like that. But where is Baker Mayfield for you guys? Like QB 9, QB 5, QB 12?
Ooh,
he's not top 5. He's between 6 and 10.
Really, you have him that high? I mean,
he's a really good passer, and he's got some great pass catchers.
Until I see what Odell Beckham does to that offense, it's hard for me to say he's going to be a QB1. I really see him as like a good QB2 right now, with everything that's there. He's got, like I said, he's got 2 good running backs that are going to help him this year. He's got a good tight end. He's got 2 good receivers. But until we see what Odell Beckham does in the locker room, and I think that's a big part of it, that's what's going to hold me back in saying he's a QB1. So I need to see how the chemistry is there before I commit to saying something like that.
So,
but go ahead.
I'm excited about OBJ being there. I think he's crazy talented. Him and Jarvis Landry, like Isaac mentioned on the last week's episode, have played together a lot. I've got a list of quarterbacks here from last season. You let me know if you would take this guy above Baker Mayfield. Pat Mahomes, obviously. Matt Ryan. Above Baker Mayfield?
I'd rather have Matt Ryan, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Big Ben.
Rather have Big Ben.
Deshaun Watson, Andrew Luck, Aaron Rodgers. All those guys above him. Okay. Jared Goff and Drew Brees.
Yep.
Dak Prescott.
No, I'd rather have Baker Mayfield.
No. Yeah, okay. I was the same way.
So right there, Dak was number 9 last year. So this gives me an idea. Cam Newton, we got him ahead of Baker, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson?
Yep.
I think he's right. I think he's right there with those 2.
Oh no.
Russell Wilson.
I think I got Russell higher, but Mitch Trubisky, like Baker or Mitch?
I think that's what I'm saying. He's right there. He's that's like 9. Okay. He's 8 or 9 on my.
Well, hang on. There's a couple more guys you're not mentioning.
Cam and Russell were after number 9, so you have. Based on what you're telling me, you have Baker around 13 right now, 12 or 13.
He does.
I would put him at 13, yeah, because there's another guy you didn't mention who I'm extremely excited about this year. Some people think I'm crazy, but Derek Carr. I mean, I see him as kind of a similar situation, like a high end QB2, like low end QB1. Like he's a guy that if I can get if I'm drafting a quarterback late and I get I get Derek Carr, I'm happy about that. I'll take that.
Well, I mean, he's on my team, so you want to get him before then?
No, I'm not going to trade for him. I'll just draft him with a late round pick.
All right, for everybody that's listening, I have Derek Carr, so if you want him, just shoot me a text or group me, and we'll talk some business.
I like Derek. I got Baker ahead of him. Here's one we didn't mention: Jameis Winston. I've got Jameis Winston pretty high this year, I think. Based on this offense, based on the weapons, I mean, I like Jameis Winston heading into the season, assuming he plays all the games.
What do you think Carson Wentz is in this?
Yeah, dude, I've got Carson Wentz, I think, outside of my top 10 pretty easily.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Nah, I don't believe that.
We got, dude, Pat Mahomes, Big Ben, Deshaun Watson, Andrew Luck, Rodgers, Goff, Breeze, Newton, Mitch Trubisky. I mean, there are a lot of guys I would take ahead of Carson Wentz. Absolutely.
I'd rather have Mitch Trubisky than Carson Wentz.
I would too.
Really?
I would too, and you guys know how I feel about Mitch Trubisky. Like,
Nah. I like Carson Wentz. I'm not going to keep him because I've got other players I need to keep. But
Wentz is a liability injury risk wise. Like if you draft him, you have to draft a second quarterback. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have to draft one to have some type of backup plan for when he gets hurt, not if.
Well,
when.
Speaking of Wentz, so we talked a lot through those trades. Here's a few possible trades that are left, and Wentz is in here. We'll get to him in a second. A couple of guys that we think should be traded in their last year of their contract. So Antonio Brown, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not likely, how likely do you think it is that Cam trades him this year?
5. I would say higher, but he's pretty stubborn. He wants the farm, so.
He was trying to do a great trade, Darius Leonard for Antonio Brown, and I told him no. I would much rather have a high-end RB1 than a high-end wide receiver one.
And he said that he wanted to do Hopkins and Antonio Brown straight, and I was like, dude, no, not on the Raiders. Not on the Raiders, not with Derek Carr. Sorry.
That doesn't make sense for you to do it because you still have 2 years left with Hopkins.
And that's exactly what I told him. It's like, why am I going to take a step down and not get anything out of it?
So what about his old teammate Le'Veon Bell last year of his contract with Jade? Jade loves Steelers players on a scale of 1 to 10. How likely?
0.
Man,
Zero.
I literally listen to this. I literally almost did Darius Leonard for Bell, but he turned me down.
Wow.
So that tells you enough right there.
Trade him then if he turned Darius Leonard down. That's a 0. That's a 0.
Yeah.
Mark Ingram.
Didn't you offer Darius Leonard and like Keanu Neal for Todd Gurley with poor old Gamma Jones?
Yep.
And he turned it down for Derwin James and J.J. Watt?
He did.
Oh, dude,
I think that says
I'm gonna smoke him. Keep him in my division. Watch what happens. Like, the new guy's going down.
No, not
like,
the new guy. That was Kyle who declined that.
Oh, Kyle turned that down.
Well, no, I offered BP a similar trade. I offered him a straight trade, and then I think I tried to sweeten it with something else, and no, still. So
yeah, he loves some Derwin James apparently, so we can see where his favoritism lies.
People who don't have experience in IDP leagues, they struggle to understand value in between both sides of the ball. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think they get so locked up in the offensive stuff that they forget that you can win. Don't get me wrong, you can win if you have a great offense, but you better have the best offense to be able to do that.
Yeah, and you can see a couple years ago with Kyle's run, his offense that year with Hopkins, Julio, Dalvin Cook, Todd Gurley, and I think it was – I don't remember who his quarterback was, but he had the best offense, and that's what carried him because he had no defense, and it showed in the championship game against Cody.
Yep.
Well, real quick, to finish the section up, Mark Ingram, Jade's got him in our conference. He would have 3 running backs at this point, James Conner, Le'Veon Bell, and Mark Ingram. Does he trade him or does he keep him?
I think he would if someone offered for him, but no one's done it yet, and he hasn't been active enough to make a trade. So I would say if someone offers him a deal, I'd say a 7, honestly. Okay. I could see him doing it.
If that's the case, Jay,
I really hope. I was gonna say I really hope Bryson listens, because he needs a guy like that. And with a guy that amount of picks that he has, the quality picks at that, you need to get some star talent on your team so you can try to start building something there. And I think that's a place to start with a guy that doesn't necessarily need him, that could really benefit your team, with Mark Ingram being signed to the Ravens now instead of the Saints.
All right. Cool. Real quick, Patrick, Jason Howard and Carson Wentz, you got both these guys.
It's Jordan Howard, not
Yeah, it's
Jason.
Jordan Howard. But I get where you're coming from.
Why did I say Jason Howard?
Yeah. I mean, I'll trade away Jason Howard if anyone wants him. I'm pretty cheap. No, Jordan Howard? No, I would trade either one of these guys, honestly, if someone offered me a trade. I've sent a couple offers away for Carson Wentz, but no one's really interested in trading quarterbacks unless they're swapping, I've noticed.
Yeah.
So I would say, honestly, don't get me wrong, if someone offers me a trade, I'll probably do it, trade away Carson Wentz. So, but because no one's really interested, I would say a 3 for Wentz. Howard, that's going to depend on where he goes, honestly. And right now, I'd say a 5. I mean, I would definitely trade him away if someone gave me an offer.
Now I feel bad.
Hey,
I forgot that you had Carson Wentz, so I feel bad for trashing his value like 5 minutes ago, where I was like, no, I wouldn't keep him ahead of any of those guys.
No, it doesn't bother me at all. I mean, I'm not keeping him, so.
One thing I do want to say for people that are listening, if you got a guy on your team that you want us to kind of just mention in one of our episodes, we'll be happy to, and just get the word out so we can keep people being active. We really enjoy all this activity that's going on. Allows us to have something to talk about and makes the league more fun, in my opinion.
Yep, there's still a lot of guys left to be traded too on their last year of their contract. So,
especially the top shotters. I think we're going to see things really heat up this coming week. Yeah.
Free advertising, basically. Let's let us know.
All right, cool. So that's it for that. We're gonna head into our keepers now. So we're gonna get a lot of roster conversation. Keepers have changed a lot the last couple weeks with the trade. And so, speaking of keepers, Isaac, which keepers are you? Which keepers are you looking at?
Dude, I have a ton of guys.
That's what she said.
You have a ton of guys.
I could talk about, but for the second time, I'll remove obvious players that have great value because of significant times or injuries or holdouts. So Le'Veon Bell, Dalvin Cook, Darius Guice, Deion Jones, Keanu Neal, etc. We also removed the people that were recently traded in the LCC because they don't count towards keepers. But with that being said, number one, I got DJ Swearinger.
So these are the best value guys, right? Like ones we expect like 4+ rounds of keeper value.
Yeah, I completely skipped over that. My bad. But yeah, 4+ rounds. We really think I'm going to be doing much better than where they are right now, keeper value wise. And like I said, speaking of DJ Swearinger, I got their first. Shout out South Carolina alumni.
Again,
of course.
Never did I happen.
He's a 11th round keeper in our league and a 6th round in the other. Arizona had 3 safeties in the top 21 last year. I feel like he's a high DB1, or not high DB1. He's a DB1 or high DB2. The Cardinals also released Antoine Bethea, so he should be a starter. So we got Eric Weddle, who's a 11th round pick in our conference and a free agent in the other conference. I don't know how, but he's a solid DB2, and he signed a 2-year deal with the Rams, obviously. So he would be a steal for a waiver wire pick in the other conference. And Bryson, if you're listening, keep him. Tariq Cohen, running back, is a 15th round in ours, 14th in the top shotters. He has to split carries with Jordan Howard, like we've already mentioned, and Mike Davis, who signed from the Seahawks. So we'll see if they ride that 3-headed monster or do they trade Jordan Howard. And at that point, I feel like Tariq Cohen's value will go up. We have Mark Ingram, like we already talked about, low RB1, high RB2. He's a 15th round keeper in our league and 18th in top shotters. That's a great value. Great. Now this guy's, I really am happy about this. Zach Ertz, tight end, 15th round in ours, 7th in the top shotters. We all know that my Tampa Bay Buccaneers traded Deshaun Jackson back to his home team, his Philadelphia Eagles. So, guys, what do you think about Deshaun Jackson's impact on that Eagles offense? Does it help Ertz? Does it take away some of his targets? What do you guys think?
I think it helps. Ertz. Sorry. No, sorry. I'm thinking Wentz here. No, I don't think it hurts Ertz at all, honestly. I think Deshaun Jackson, dude, like, he's good, don't get me wrong, but he's getting older. I don't see him having the same impact that he made when he was first in Philadelphia. I think it helps Carson Wentz, if you're asking me about that. I think it's good for him. But for Ertz, I don't think it's going to really affect his targets that much, honestly. I think he's still going to be – I mean, he's obviously one of the best tight ends, but he's going to end up being basically like a wide receiver too in our league. So,
Yeah. All right, Jameson?
I'm a little down on Ertz. Isaac and I, we've talked about
Hater.
it. Hater. No, I
shouldn't even asked him. Shouldn't even have asked him. We already know what he's going to say. He's going to trash Ertz. Go ahead.
No. I like him a lot, but he broke the record for he had a ton of he broke the record for tight end catches last season, I think. So I mean, I don't see that his reception to go down a little bit. And Deshaun Jackson, he has the ability to take it to the house on any play, which worries me because I saw it a lot with Mike Evans and Tampa last season, where Deshaun Jackson catches an 80-yard touchdown pass and the drive is over. So Mike Evans could have gotten 3 more catches for 20 yards. He doesn't have that opportunity. I don't think it hurts his red zone value. So I still think he can get plenty of touchdown targets. So I mean, I'm not like completely against him or anything. I'm just down on him a little bit. Regardless, that's still excellent value for Zach Ertz, and if that's where the value is, I think you've definitely got to keep him.
Yeah, I mean, as a Zach Ertz earner, 15th round pick for me. I mean, I'm looking at keeping him just to have some depth for a 15th round pick. I mean, that's quality depth. He was 11th in receivers in ours league. So, I mean, that's great value for a 15th round pick. I think Deshaun Jackson will take the top off the defense. He's going to take a lot of attention away from Alshon Jeffrey, who was the only other great pass catcher on the team. So now you got 3 great pass catchers. So I feel like it's just going to be more opportunities for Ertz. Because, if Carson Wentz the quarterback and he stays healthy, Ertz is his favorite target, without a doubt. So, that would be great for me, honestly. But anyway, next we got Amari Cooper. It's Jameson's favorite player in fantasy. He's
more than
16th round pick in ours for Billy, in a 10th round in the top shotas. He's the new number 1 wide receiver in Dallas and should definitely outperform his 16th round keeper value. What you guys think about that one?
Definitely great value.
Yeah. I think any receiver 1 or 2 is worth keeping pretty much regardless of the pick, because I feel like there's really going to be no talent in the draft or the waiver wire. So if you have someone that's even semi-decent, you should be keeping them.
Well, he's actually in the waiver wire, so.
I don't want to say regardless of the pick, depending on your roster makeup. But
most people's receivers, even their best, at most are like a 3rd round pick, 4th round pick. But that dude can go in the 1st round. You know what I mean, in our draft. So he's worth it.
16th and 10th is a ton of value for Amari Cooper. You got to keep him.
All right. Next, we got Julian Edelman. He's a 16th in both the Elite 12 and Top Shotas. He averaged 25.1 points per game, which would have finished 12th overall, right behind Ertz if he would have played the whole year, which is not bad value at all for a 16th round pick. Like he said, number 1 wide receiver and with the New England Patriots. We have DJ Moore next, who's a 17th round keeper in both. Great steal, honestly, for a keeper. We obviously know Devin Funk just signed with the Colts. Good riddance.
Did you just say a Panther? Did I hear Isaac say a Panther is worth keeping? I think I did.
All right. Roasted.
I like DJ Moore. I liked him when you guys drafted him. As a Buccaneer fan, I'm like, oh crap. But I know you're guys.
Like 2 months, like a month ago or 2 months ago, when we did the bounce back players. So you guys know how much love I have for DJ Moore this season. That's great value.
Yeah, and Devin Funk, just good riddance to him. He signed like a 1-year, $14 million ridiculous-ass contract with the Colts. I told you that front office was a joke. Nobody believed me. And then you see that transaction, like, oh, yeah, he's right. Go ahead. I mean, Devin Funk just did nothing at Carolina and did not deserve that big old pay increase that he got.
No.
Yeah, I was on my way to see Captain Marvel. I was on my way into the theater to see Captain Marvel when I saw that text message from Isaac. And I was like, wow, I thought Captain Marvel was going to be the most ridiculous thing I saw today, like unrealistic thing I saw today. But no, it was Devin Funchess signing for $13 million. That was the most unrealistic thing I thought. Yeah, that's insane. That's insane. And I would have done it for
next.
like $1 million if they had just called me.
Yeah.
Same production.
Hell, you could give me 250,000 K. I'll take it.
Yeah, same
League
production.
minimum. Pass it to me. I got you.
I can drop.
I'll catch one touchdown pass a year.
Yeah.
We'll call it good.
I could drop 18 passes and twist my ankle for a lot less money than $13 million. So I don't know why they signed him to do it, not one of us. But whatever.
Yeah. What ifs? Next, we got my boy Justin Evans out of Tampa, DB. He's a free safety. He's a 17th round keeper for Cam and 15th round keeper for the Top Shotters. He averaged 29.1 points per game before he was hurt. We signed Dayon Buchanan. That's correctly how you pronounce his name, not Dion. It's Dayon.
Is it really Dayon?
It's Dayon.
Oh, the way you said it, I thought you were just.
It's like around. That deep Mississippi, like Dayon Buchanan.
Dayon.
That's
Dayon.
how he's supposed to. Yeah, he's that deep Savannah accent.
Yeah, molasses just spilling out your mouth.
Yeah. He's supposed to be our new strong safety, hybrid linebacker type guy. So Justin Evans still has his job for us at free safety. So he's a waiver wire keeper on both conferences. Like I said, averaged 29.1 points per game, which was really solid. So he's definitely worth an eye. Last but not least for me, I have the Aaron Jones running back for the Packers. He's an 18th round pick for me and a 16th round pick for the Top Shotters. They said that they're going to use a running back by committee, but I like his talent more than Jamal Williams. He averaged 24.4 points per game last year, which was the same as Leonard Fournette, and 0.1 points behind Kerryon Johnson. So basically, they would have tied for the 15th best running back last year if they would have played all their games. Great value for a late round pick. What do you guys think about this? I mean, I'm not going to be able to keep him because I got other people I'd rather have. But for the Top Shotters, I mean, for a 16th round keeper, he's worth keeping an eye out, or even the waiver wire, a high waiver wire pick for him.
He's worth keeping. I'm always a little worried by RBBCs when coaches commit to it before the season even starts. But he is way more talented than Jamal Williams by basically every statistical measure that we can see. And so as long as he doesn't get suspended, I think he's going to be an RB2, mid to low RB2.
Word. Well, Jameson, this guy next I was considering moving in my section. Pat, you got something?
Yeah, I was going to say, considering so just to give you guys an idea, Aaron Jones is on Hunter of Champions team, and he only has 2 running backs. That's Mark Ingram, Aaron Jones. Mark Ingram's worth an 18th round pick. Aaron Jones is a 16th round pick. I think the value is there for Aaron Jones, but Mark Ingram for an 18th round pick, I think is better, and he's got better players to keep. I don't think he keeps Aaron Jones there. I think he keeps Mark Ingram instead if he's smart about it, and then tries to get Aaron Jones through the waiver wire.
Yeah, he'll be definitely a first, second round waiver wire pick, honestly,
and that's something we should
value.
Yeah, we should clarify before we even started the segment was like, I didn't think to say this, but like it really depends on your roster makeup, right? So like if this guy is 16 and you like him a lot, but you've already got a lot of other needs that you're keeping, then obviously you wouldn't keep him. But these are just our thoughts on who presents
great value
the
picks.
best value. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, well, Jameson, this next guy I was actually considering moving into my section. I'm going to tell you guys about him. This section we're about to go into is the moderate value keepers. And the guy is, go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, so before I mention that, so these guys are the guys who are we expect to outperform the keeper value by 1 to 3 rounds. Well, it's a little bit different depending on each conference, but so these are moderate keeper values, guys that can be and maybe still should be kept. So don't get upset because they're not in the first tier. They're still really good players. We'll run through them here. Juju Smith-Schuster is first. He's a 4th round keeper in our conference, which is why he's moderate in our conference, but he's a 7th in the Top Shotters, which is great value. I expect a little bit of regression without Antonio Brown there to take some of the double coverage, but he's still a low-end wide receiver 1, a high wide receiver 2, and without any depth, like Patrick's already mentioned, he's worth keeping. Bobby Wagner, a fourth and a third. I think this is, again, moderate because I think with his age and some of these young linebackers who are coming into the league, he might begin being pushed out of that top 5 and into that low LB1, high LB2. I could see that happening the next year or two. So it's still possible to keep him. I might look elsewhere, but I might keep him too. It's moderate value. Robert Woods with the 8th and the 9th. This is good. I think he's still worth keeping, but Cooper Kupp could be back. We don't know what his role is going to look like. And anyone who has an iffy role is someone that I'm always a little hesitant about. Baker Mayfield, this is a Cleveland offense that is loaded. Signal caller for the offense should have a bump in QB tiers. We already talked about him. He's a 9th pick. We actually should have removed him.
Not now.
I was going to say,
not
we should have
now.
removed him before he was traded, but I guess this could be for the other conference where he's a 4th pick, which would definitely be moderate because I wouldn't really want to go much higher than that if I was going to draft him straight from the draft. This was before the trade took place, like last night, I think is when it got approved. So, Chris Carson.
Friday. It was when Bryson got brought out of school.
Yeah. Chris Carson, 9th and 11th round. It's a guy that we're not sure about, but the pick is so late that I think there's still a lot of value here. Averaged 26.9 points per game, ahead of guys like Phillip Lindsay, David Johnson, Marlon Mack, who I love. I love all 3 of those guys. Would have finished as the number 10 had he played the whole season based on his points per game. One of the guys he split a lot with, Mike Davis, is gone. Rashad Penny hasn't proven to be the talent that we were looking for. But again, they really are emphasizing an RBB C, and if they don't run as much as they did last year, I might be a little bit concerned with Chris Carson. That's still great value there. DeMarcus Lawrence, a lot of depth. We've talked about this a ton off the show. Ton of depth, the new role with the linebackers. Roster makeup, I don't think defensive ends are as important, so we put him in the moderate value, 10th and 9th round here. Rashad Jones, we briefly mentioned him earlier. He was the number 1 DB the year before. He's only a 10th and a 9th round pick in both conferences. He's definitely worth holding on to at that value. Lamar Jackson, I want to get your opinions on him here, guys. He's a 12th pick in the Elite 12, and he's a free agent in the Top Shotas.
When I put that in there, I'm like, how did they let this guy go
He should have been
the whole end of the season?
Yeah, he should have been on a
when
roster.
he was lighting everybody's defenses on fire.
He should have been on a roster.
How was he in the free agency the whole time? I don't understand that.
Because everyone besides Cody and Mufali and maybe Hunter
gave up.
Don't have any
they gave up at that point.
And Jordan. I mean, Jordan knows what's going on, but he already had a quarterback.
I guess everybody just gave up and just conceded to Cody win that conference already, and just like, I'll just let these guys just sit out there. Whatever.
So if you don't have a quarterback, or maybe that's just a low enough pick, you're not going to even use it, and you want a backup. I mean, would you guys look at Lamar Jackson here if you had all your needs taken care of already? I mean, obviously it would depend on the makeup of your roster, but.
See, if I was Billy, and this is Billy Ray Cyrus we're talking about, I would have kept Jackson for a 12th rounder and used that 2nd round pick on another wide receiver if there was one out there, or some linebackers, some DBs, something else. You had Lamar Jackson on your team. I don't understand why you don't like him enough to keep him. He's not the best passer, but he will get you those running points, which will save you. I mean, he will get 40 to 60 points any given game with that running ability he has. And we all know Rodgers is getting up there in age, so his scrambling ability is a lot less than it is now. So I don't understand that move by him, but who am I? Could backfire on me and I'll look stupid, but as of right now, it just doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens with him, but I mean, I like that value that late if your roster could handle it. Lamar Miller, 12th and 11th. This is a guy who had a solid season. People kind of forget about him because he's not electric, but I'm pulling up the RB value here. He finished as RB 23, but he also missed two or three games. So with that value, 12th and 11, I would definitely look to keep a guy like Lamar Miller on my team. Tyler Boyd, moderate value, 13th and 12th, because Adrian Green's going to be back. Tyler Boyd's not going to serve that wide receiver 1 role like as often as he did last season, so I think he will regress. Chris Godwin, Isaac, I know you're going to want to jump in here. Deshaun Jackson and Adam Humphries are gone. Chris Godwin is the unquestioned wide receiver 2 in Tampa, a team that we expect to throw the ball a lot, a team that likes to throw the ball deep, a team that likes to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands quickly with Bruce Arians. So
if he doesn't fumble.
if Jameis Winston doesn't fumble. So that's, hold on.
Boom. Roasted.
So that's
Sorry, James, if you listen, I'm sorry. I still love you, but
if
you
he's
fumble a lot.
listening. If
that's
he's
not a lie.
listening, I mean, we got a lot more to do than just apologize. If he's listening, we got to market this somehow, like Jameis Winston, like.
Hey, Jameis, I've been sticking with the Buccaneers since our heydays, through the rough days, and I mean rough days. I've been with
They're
them.
still rough. What are you talking about?
Like yesterday.
Okay, well, as you can see, I'm getting bullied by 2 Panther fans here. They're just jealous they haven't won a Super Bowl, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I'm really happy about Chris Godwin's value for a 14th or 15th round keeper. I mean, like you said, we lost to Deshaun Jackson and Adam Humphries, unfortunately. Our Dorman graduate, Adam Humphries, moved on from my beloved Buccaneers to the Tennessee Titans. So another one of them got the money bags. He's going to take a lot of targets, Chris Godwin is. So I really like him for that value. So
14th, 15th round value. That's awesome value for him. Jarvis Landry, 14th and 13th, even though I do expect some regression because of OBJ, even though I made Jarvis Landry my fantasy Valentine, which I freaking hate now. That's still a ton of value for a guy like Jarvis Landry, who could easily finish as a high wide receiver 2 and will finish as a wide receiver 2 regardless, I think. So that's a great value. Kenny Golladay, 15th and 9th. Isaac hates this receiver, but to be the number 1 receiver on a team, even if it is the Lions, for 15th and 9th round value, I think you've got to roll with them. So, cool. Well, before we move to Patrick, anyone on there that I mentioned you guys didn't get to talk about? You want to say something real quick?
Yeah, real quick. We talked about Lamar Miller earlier, and I'm like you, Jameson. I really like Lamar Miller. I'm hoping he falls into the waiver wire in our conference so I can get him in the first or second round. But one thing you got to look at is he's on Michael's team in the other conference. Michael has only 2 running backs. He's got Lamar Miller and Christian McCaffrey, who's his first-round pick and only has 1 year left on his contract. If you're
so basically,
Michael,
you're saying that you want to be like Michael, huh? Because you can have the same players.
If you're Michael, do you what my dad did? Trade away Christian McCaffrey, free up your first-round pick, and keep Lamar Miller, or do you keep McCaffrey and roll with that?
What the hell would you not keep McCaffrey? You would try to trade McCaffrey.
Well, it's the last year of his contract.
You would try to trade McCaffrey for like a Todd Gurley or something.
Yeah, you got to trade him. You got to trade him for sure.
You don't let a guy like that walk and not get anything for him.
Yeah.
As much as you love him, because, I tried to get him from your dad, and he's just like, I love this guy too much. But you had the sweeter offer than I did. So.
But that's why we talked about guys like OBJ, or not OBJ. We talked about Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell. Is those are guys that have to be traded. I mean, you're not going to keep them and lose them for nothing. You have to trade them. It just makes sense. So we'll see what goes on through the rest of the offseason, because it's only March. So we still got a lot of time. So
we've had a ton of trades in the past week. You know what I mean? It's nuts. It's been a lot of fun for sure. But no, let's get into some of these guys that have absolutely no keeper value, at least in our opinion. A couple guys here, and this list is a little bit shorter, but trust me, I think everyone listening can probably agree with some of this. You got Emmanuel Sanders, who is a 14th round pick, tore his Achilles. He's 32 years old. He's probably going to miss some time this season. It's just all bad signs. I don't care who the quarterback is in Denver. I am not excited about Emmanuel Sanders, keeping him at all. And honestly, I don't know if I would even get him in the waiver wire. If I had all 4 waiver wire picks, I'm not sure if I would even pick him in the waiver wire. And that says a lot.
Well, if he's already 32. If he's gonna miss time, they've got guys like Deshaun Hamilton and who's that other guy? Cortland Sutton. Yeah, I mean, they've got young guys that they want to develop. I mean,
and Jake Butt.
And Jake Butt. And that's assuming they don't even draft anybody else. So no, I'm not looking at Emmanuel Sanders even at that value.
What if they got Donkey Kong Metcalf?
Oh God,
They could
man.
go there, but I mean, they definitely got some needs at receiver.
Yeah.
Offensive line.
I'm not excited with anybody because they got Joe Flacco. So moving on.
Yeah. Next up, Kareem Jackson. Some people may be a little surprised by this, but he's a second and third round pick between both conferences. He's now with the Broncos, and we really don't know his role yet, if he's going to be a cornerback or a safety. And in our league, at least, in our scoring format, tackles mean a tremendous amount for your points from a player. And obviously, he's going to get more points if he's pushed into the safety role. If he's a corner, then that kind of devalues him quite a bit. And honestly, I think it's gonna hurt him for sure. And you don't want to give up that much for him.
I agree.
All right. Next up, we've got Bethea here, who signed with the Giants now. He's a second-round pick in both conferences. He's a bit older. He's a guy that is a little bit risky because of that. He's got the history of being good. But there's just so much depth right now, and so many guys you could be trading for, and to keep him for a second-round pick, I'm not sure if I'd want to do that. I mean, again, everyone's roster is a little bit different. That's kind of my stance there. Kiko Alonso, another guy. He's a third and fifth round pick between both conferences, and it's a little bit high, a third round pick, I feel like, for Kiko. I'd give up a fifth for him. But at least in the Elite 12, a third round pick, that's kind of expensive, I think, especially on Jade's team. It may be a wasted pick though to go that high.
Yeah. Plus he's older and he's only done it for one season. I'd want to see more from him. There's a lot of young linebackers to look at.
No, there's a lot of guys you'd be trading for too. I mean, there's a lot of depth out there right now, and you could probably get a guy in the first round, second round of the waiver wire too. I mean, you're right. He's 28 years old. I just looked it up.
Which is not old. Usually linebackers are 30. Is 29, 30 is 31.
He's there. He's at the cutoff.
Yeah,
he's at the cutoff.
I want
basically.
Like Leighton, Tremaine Edmonds, Blake. I want guys like 22 to 25, 22 to 26.
Would you rather have Jalen Smith or Kiko Alonso?
Jalen Smith.
Yeah, I'm
really?
the same way.
Yep.
I'd rather have Kiko Alonso. Because they already got Leighton Vander Esch and Sean Lee on that team. I don't want another tackle guzzler on that team.
Well, Sean Lee's basically going to get hurt in week 2. He's going to tear something or sprain his ACL.
Yeah.
Jalen Smith's a good linebacker.
And Sean Lee, if you're listening, we're not wishing injury on you.
We're not. We're not.
We want you to have a safe and healthy season where you lose.
I just don't expect it to happen. I want you to. I just don't expect it to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, who's the last guy?
All right. Last one is T.J. Watt, outside linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's a fifth-round pick in our league. That is extremely steep.
Yes.
A seventh-round pick in the other. The only way I think he's worth a seventh-round pick is if you're switching him to defensive end. And then all of a sudden, maybe you could argue it. But still, I would really be more like a 10th-round pick is what I would want to give up for him. There's a lot of depth, though, at outside linebacker / defensive end now in our league. I'm not sure if, like me personally, I'm not sure if any defensive end / outside linebacker is worth keeping because there's going to be so much depth. Isaac would probably argue against that statement, but that's just my thoughts at least. But yeah, that pretty much sums up our
Pat, you missed the first one. Go back to the first one.
The first one. Oh, okay, gotcha. Any QB not named Patrick Mahomes should be worth a first round.
Should not.
Should not be. Sorry.
Somebody erased my not on there.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that.
But
I've been saying that for years. Like, I'm glad Isaac's on board too. Like, Brady is a first round pick, keeper value on Bryson's team. Like, do not do that. Open that up and get some depth somewhere else and draft a quarterback.
Well, I mean, he did sign Baker Mayfield, so hopefully he doesn't keep
I would hope
Tom
not.
Brady.
God, I would hope not. But everyone, we need to stop doing that. Like, stop keeping quarterbacks with first round values. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, Breeze,
there's some
Big
people
Ben,
that
Luck,
do, and
Rodgers.
And the other fantasy leagues I've played in, there's some people that still argue no, it's if you can get the best fantasy quarterback, it's worth it.
Pat Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes.
Pat Mahomes was last year, but he literally had to throw in our league to be worth it. He literally had to throw 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns, which has only happened 2 times before that season. I mean, he's going to regress. We've already talked about we expect a little bit of regression, especially with Kareem Hunt gone and maybe Tyreek Hill now. I'm starting not to be as excited about my trade with him earlier. But yeah, I mean, I mean, the positions you could get, linebacker, safety. I mean, I don't know. I'm not high on quarterbacks.
Hey, you want to do a Deshaun Watson,
No.
Patrick Mahomes trade?
I do not. No, Pat Mahomes is still gonna score more points.
Hey, it was at the shop, man. Had the door open, you know, step my foot in, test the water.
Yeah, that's right. All right, guys. Well, that's it for us. Anything else before we hop off?
No,
No,
just thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah. Also, a couple things going on right now. By the time you're listening to this, the Top Shotters Conference, more than likely the divisions will be realigned to some extent. That'll be interesting. I'm actually working on the 2019 schedule as of last night, Friday night. So we will have a schedule release, though, in mid-April, so that's something to look forward to. So we're about a month away from that.
Yep. Awesome. Cool, guys. Well, it was great to do this again. I'm always excited. We'll be back for next week. Next week, we've got way too early rankings for the LCC for every team in the LCC. So we wanted to talk about roster reconstruction before we did that. So that's going to be next week's episode. So tune in if you want to hear what we think about your team and where you're going to rank among your competitors. So.
And remember, if you guys want to shop a player, just let us know.
Let us know. We'll put it up. All right guys.
All right. Peace.